There is one television show my grandma Tilly forbade me to watch when I was a kid. I snuck that show in anyway. Because let me tell you, watching grown women sit around the kitchen table at midnight eating cheesecake while hashing out romantic rivalries and who did what to whom stories was mesmerizing. I mean, talk about a petri dish for dramatic conflict. And guess what? All these years later, I found the real life version of the Golden Girls. I'm talking 4 friends, 1 house, 13 years, and everyone around them betting they'd never make it.
We had friends who said, well, I'll give them a year or 2.
That's Ellen Baumgartner, a 92-year-old retired nurse from Columbus, Ohio. After a divorce with her 3 kids grown and off building their own lives, Ellen found herself in a house that suddenly felt just too quiet.
I didn't like living alone. Nobody to say good morning to, nobody to say how was your day and do things in the evening.
So in the early 2000s, when a few of her friends decided to buy a big house together, partly to shrink their environmental footprint and to shrink their loneliness too, they called Ellen to see if she wanted in.
I immediately said yes. I didn't have to think about it or anything.
Now, if you are like me, your mind goes straight to the TV formula. Think Golden Girls, living single, the real world. Put people under one roof and just wait for the explosion. But Ellen and her 3 friends, including one married couple, they broke that formula. And here's how.
We had all taken nonviolent communication just before we moved in. And we had an agreement that if anyone had a complaint, not to stuff it, but to say, we need to have a conversation.
Did you catch that? Before a single box was unpacked, they did what most roommates, most people for that matter, never do. They prepared for conflict.
We didn't want to get so we couldn't stand being around somebody. We learned how to react and respond to something that was upsetting to you in a nonviolent way, not attacking them. Damn it, when you do that, it makes me so mad. And, but rather saying, this is how I feel. And we just learned there was a better way and didn't worsen the situation.
That better way has a name, Nonviolent Communication, and it's from Marshall Rosenberg's popular book of the same name. At its core, it's simple. Start with what you observed, name what you feel, share what you need, then make a clear request. Never attack. Here's what that looked like for Ellen and her friends.
We'd usually sit around the dining room table and talk about it. It wasn't just between 2 people. It usually included the whole group. So even if one person had done something that made me feel uncomfortable or bad or whatever, we wanted everybody to be part of that conversation.
Want to guess how many of those we need to have a conversation moments happened?
Maybe 5 or 6 times in the first couple of years. And then we didn't have to do it the rest of the time. And we lived together for about 12 or 13 years.
Ellen told me they'd probably still be living together today if cancer hadn't taken the life of her roommate, Carol. And even during that chapter, they were there for each other, taking turns cooking, driving her to chemo, caring for her at home until the very end. 13 years, 5 or 6 conversations, one house full of people who decided ahead of time they would not let the small stuff turn into big stuff. So tell me, what has helped you live with roommates? And I mean roommates in the broadest sense. Family, friends, an exchange student, you name it. What did you do? What agreements, what habits that made living together work? Share it with us in the chat so we can all learn. And if your answer is simply cheesecake at midnight, that works.